Michael Jordan. And the pictures say it all. While it all seems to come so easily for Chicago's Jordan, it's been anything but easy for Milwaukee's John Lucas. A repeat victim of drugs, Lucas is back and helping to spark the Bucks while he reestablishes his personal worth. Today in Chicago, the Bulls look to the broad shoulders of Michael Jordan to carry them to victory over the Milwaukee Bucks. A standing room only crowd has gathered here in this venerable old stadium in Chicago for today's NBA encounter between the Bucks of Milwaukee and the Bulls of Chicago. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Vern Lundquist. Even by his own lofty standards, Michael Jordan is enjoying an extraordinary year. He leads the NBA in scoring by more than 9 points. He is averaging 37.5 points per game, and the rest of the starting lineup for Chicago is averaging just over 43. He's helped his team in a multitude of ways. I'm working again today with Bill Cunningham, and Bill, John Lucas has developed into quite an addition for the Milwaukee Bucks.
Oh, he has, and Don Nelson, if he didn't have John Lucas, would be fighting to make the playoffs with him, and with Pressey and Moncrief back in the lineup, they're fighting it for the division title.
These are division rivals separated by just 100 or so miles, and it really leads to the intensity of the rivalry.
Yeah, Interstate 94 connecting Chicago and Milwaukee. But the one thing, you never like to see a fight in basketball, but there's nothing like a fight to start a rivalry, and that's what we have here.
This happened the last time the two teams met on the 5th of this month. The combatants were Charles Oakley with the right and Paul McKeskey, who was the recipient, and that'll only add to the emotion, I think.
Yeah, and I think Paul McKeskey learned not to lead with his chin.
Paul McKeskey's wife, Linda, gave birth to his son, Brian, just 2 days ago. He's a brand new papa. We'll be back right after this.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Basketball Association is sponsored by Miller Genuine Draft. Cold filtered for real draft smoothness. It's beer at its best. And by Air Jordan by Nike. It's all in the imagination.
We're back at Chicago Stadium, Chicago, Illinois, for the 5th meeting this year between the Bucks and the Bulls. And let's meet the starting lineups for both of these teams. Milwaukee will start Terry Cummings, Paul Pressey, Jack Sikma, Sidney Moncrief, and John Lucas. And for the Bulls, Charles Oakley, Gene Banks, Dave Corzine, Michael Jordan, and John Paxson. And just moments ago, fresh from a 58-point performance the other night, here was the introduction of Michael Jordan.
From North Carolina, 6'3", Michael Jordan. The head coach for Chicago, Tom Holland.
This city and much of the country has fallen in love with him. John Vanek and Terry Durham are our referees, and we're set to go. Milwaukee comes in with a 36-22 record, and the Bulls are 28-25. And many thought prior to the start of the season they would be fortunate to win 30 for the year. Oakley controls for Chicago, and John Paxson will bring it across the timeline, guarded by John Lucas. Now Pressey comes out to double on him, back to Corzine, playing way out away from the basket. Gene Banks bounce pass underneath, and it'll be Chicago to inbound.
Now, the reason they doubled right there on Paxson, they were looking to post up Jordan and to force him to swing the basketball and not allowing them to go inside to Jordan.
Corzine quickly to Oakley. Oakley guarded by Terry Cummings. They look for Jordan along the baseline. Moncrief guards him, air ball. And Milwaukee comes down. They will try and force the tempo now. Paul Pressey back in the lineup. Missed 17 games this year. Cummings misfires on the shot. Rebound Chicago. Here come the Bulls. Paxson looks underneath for Jordan. Settles short instead. And the first whistle of the game.
Well, what they try to do, Chicago, when they're in transition, is they like their forwards or big people to go to the box, and then they look to post them up, and that's exactly what Paxson did with Gene Banks that time down the court.
Foul was on Jack Sickman, his first, team first, and Gene Banks goes to the line.
Well, Sidney Moncrief is matched up against Michael Jordan, and Sidney has only played 19 games this season. And it'll be very interesting to see if he has the stamina, his reactions, how they are playing against Michael. But, you know, Vern, one thing about Sidney Moncrief is he's been on the all-defensive team since 1982, and he was the player of the year defensively in the NBA, 83 and 84. So Jordan has his hands full defensively.
Paxson on Lucas. Now top of the key, stolen by Jordan. Here's Michael.
There's that great quickness of Jordan.
3-0 Chicago lead. Cummings down along the baseline. Looks inside. Excellent pass to Moncrief. And Sidney scores. Moncrief did not score the other night in a win over Indiana. Only the third time in his career in which that has happened. He played only 14 minutes. He's been bothered by bad legs all year and has missed 39 games.
And he is the heart and soul of this Bucks team.
Paxson drives it up, puts it up short. Sickman with a rebound. Whistle and a loose ball foul on Dave Corzine. That's his first, team's first. There is Doug Collins, 35 years old. Has done a wonderful job in getting this city united behind this team.
Well, you know he has, because Dave Corzine in years past, when he would step on the court and touch the ball, he would get booed. Now he's getting the cheers.
Cummings. That makes it a 4-3 Milwaukee game. Cummings, the most consistent player this year for Milwaukee. Bucks have been on a run. Here's Jordan over Moncrief. Battle for the rebound, brought down by Lucas. Quickly forces it up as he will. Penetrates all the way, puts it up and in. And draws the foul. Chance for a three-point play.
Well, you saw the last time defensively, Moncrief, the one thing they don't want to happen is for Jordan to get to the foul line. The last time he had the ball posted up, they don't want to allow him to get to the foul line. In New Jersey, of course, he shot 27 free throws.
John Lucas, who's averaged better than 18 points per game since joining this team, now gets a three-point play, and it's a 7-3 Milwaukee lead.
Now
Presti is on Michael Jordan.
Yeah, they're switching off and on, and they have that ability. Moncrief and Presti, two outstanding defensive players at the same height, too.
Corzine with a jumper gets it.
Well, that's Dave Corzine's game, you know, spotting up for that jump shot, and that causes a lot of problems for Sickman because he likes to play close to the basket.
John Lucas again. It's a 9-5 Milwaukee lead.
Well, right now we see, well, there goes Jordan.
Sickman with a rebound on the short ball. And Lucas pushes it right side. Presti, travel.
Now, the point I was going to make, Vern, is Doug Collins wants Paxson to force John Lucas to go to his right because he feels he is not as effective going to his right. And there was a case where the coach tells you what to do, but the player wasn't able to execute it.
Paxson comes across the timeline. We've got 9:10 to go first quarter. Paxson with a turnaround, and Sickman with yet another rebound. And Lucas again, here he comes. They're playing the kind of game Milwaukee wants, and that is a quick transition game.
And that last time there was one player on Chicago near the offensive boards.
Sickman not there. Rebound Oakley. Oakley, the number 3 rebounder in the NBA, averaging better than 12 per game. Jordan with the pass underneath the Banks, who wasn't ready, and knocked out of bounds by Terry Cummings over the back.
Well, in the early few minutes, Chicago is out of sync offensively. They're not running their plays well and executing with any crispness.
Oakley to Corzine.
Outstanding pass by Charles Oakley, who was one of the finer passes in the NBA at that power forward position.
9-7 Milwaukee with 8.5 to go first quarter. The largest lead of the game early on has been 4. Lucas inside to Sickman, guarded by Corzine. Double team, doubled down by Paxson. They'll let Lucas take the left-handed three-pointer.
Well, John Lucas now is 20 for 57 from that three-point area, shooting nearly 40%. You know, the thing that's amazing about it, Vern, is that he was out of basketball for so long and was able to come in, and the first game he plays was able to have a big impact on the outcome.
Corzine gets it. Now Sidney Moncrief. Ball Presti. And Presti takes it all the way, draws the foul. Will shoot a couple.
That was a play where Chicago just didn't get back well defensively and help out defensively, because Banks got back, but he needed some help from a teammate to stop that penetration.
Pressey missed 17 games after he dislocated a ring finger back on January 6th. So he's just back in the lineup.
Be interesting to see if Milwaukee will go to any form of a trap, full court or half court. The reason I say that, one thing that Don Nelson would like to have happen defensively to have his team do is to try and force Jordan to handle the basketball, because the offense for Chicago has Jordan coming off a lot of baseline screens, and that had forced Paxson to replace Jordan coming off those screens.
Jordan with Pressey guarding him now, looks for the screen, gets it, but then is double teamed. Banks draws the foul. Terry Cummings guilty of the infraction, and Banks back at the line.
Gene Banks, 2 seconds.
Now there's the pick and roll from the weak side, and Terry Cummings coming over a little slow to give that help defensively.
Banks now 1 of 3 from the line early on. For the season, Gene Banks hitting 79%. He started the last 9 games. He missed the first 18 this season with a broken foot. And that narrows the margin to 4, 14-10. Pressey quickly on Jordan, takes him in, puts it up and off.
Well, that's one thing I thought to start out the ball game they'd look to do, is try to go at Jordan and force him to play both ends of the court, not allow him to just think offensively.
Have they done that as much as you thought?
Not as much.
Lucas on the line, turnover, it'll be Chicago's ball. John Lucas will be the subject of Pat O'Brien at the half coming up, his well-documented travels and tribulations with the drug problem, and Pat will be discussing that with John at halftime. 16-10 with 7:24 to go. And they want to reset the shot clock to 9 seconds as Doug Collins prowls the sidelines. Paxson. Nice inbounds play.
Excellent. What happened there? Lucas turned his head. Paxson read that, just went straight to the basket.
Terry Cummings guarded by Oakley. Back to Lucas, let him take the three-pointer, hits another one.
Number 21. Now, the thing that you have to, in the past, when you played the Bucks, Pressey would be the one handling the basketball. And now, with Pressey and Lucas out there, it just puts more pressure on you defensively, especially in a running basketball game, who to pick up and stop.
Corzine doesn't get it. Jordan with the rebound. Now guarded by Moncrief. Michael tries to lean in, passes off to Oakley, who misses the shot, but will go to the line. Chicago has called timeout. They'll be at the line. But look at it again.
That's what happens just with the presence of Michael Jordan.
19-12 with 6:46 to go, first quarter. Last Thursday night against New Jersey, Michael Jordan had an extraordinary night, 58 points. And he played just the first 46 minutes. He actually went out of the game late, but after putting on a show, the season high, 58 points, beat the old record held by Dominique Wilkins earlier this year. There's Jordan, acrobatic as all get out. That was the last basket. It came with 3:44 to go in the game, and with 2:40 to go, Michael turned to Doug Collins and said, "Take me out." So he denied himself the chance at 60, but he did set a club record. And Billy, you really were appreciative of the gesture he made in coming out.
I did, especially seeing that they're going to play New Jersey tomorrow. You never want to rub it in. You know, take the victories, go on. You never need to add any more incentive to your opponent, especially when you're playing them within a few days.
The only basket Jordan has here in the first quarter was that breakaway dunk. Now, substitution, John Lucas goes to the bench with 11 points, and Craig Hodges comes in for the Milwaukee Bucks. So Hodges, the first substitute of the game, and Oakley will shoot 2 for the Chicago Bulls.
When you play against Don Nelson's teams, the one thing he will try to do is take you out of your sets offensively and force you to do things that you normally don't do. And that's what they've been able to do so far in the first period against the Chicago Bulls team. What the Bulls will have to do is move the basketball and find the open men.
Oakley gets one, 19-13, with 6:44 to go, first quarter.
Now, Sidney Moncrief has not been involved in the offense to this point. I would expect they'd try to get him involved.
From the corner, Terry Cummings, 21-13. That's 4 points for Cummings. And a little pressure applied by Milwaukee now. Moncrief on Jordan.
This is what they want. They want Moncrief to try and deny the ball or put some pressure on Jordan handling the basketball.
An 8-point Milwaukee lead. Paxson comes left, guarded by Craig Hodges. Underneath, good pass. Oakley lays it off to Corzine. And Corzine, after misfiring, gets the shot to fall.
Just good ball movement by the Bulls.
21-15, largest lead has been 8.
One thing that's happened with this Bulls team is that the team, because they're winning now, have developed confidence in themselves and their own abilities. Earlier in the year, they were completely dependent on Michael Jordan. That is not the case any longer.
Moncrief lets it go through. Back to Cummings, who will take the jumper from 18.
Well, Terry Cummings is not a good player. He's a great basketball player, and they made a big trade with the Los Angeles Clippers, and it's a great addition to this ball club.
First Chicago turnover.
Again, we saw the Bucks come down and be very disruptive defensively, doubling, rotating their people, and taking this Bulls team out of their set offense.
Now, with Lucas on the bench and Pressey playing the guard spot, how does this change their offensive rotation? Whoops. Clean slap by Oakley.
It really doesn't do very much. Pressey just takes Lucas's spot. Hodges will be looking to spot up for the three-pointers for the Bucks.
Corzine has 8. Gets it to Oakley. Takes it strong. Too strong. Banks with the rebound up and in.
Oakley and Corzine really have a chemistry in there we've seen early in the ball game, finding each other for the easy opportunities.
23-17, Milwaukee lead. They have led throughout. Paul Pressey. Back to Sidney Moncrief. Nice touch pass back to Craig Hodges with a jumper.
That's what Craig Hodges will do. He'll just float around three-point area looking for those jump shots.
With the addition of John Lucas, Hodges' minutes have been reduced, and he's been asked to play a different role, especially since Moncrief and Pressey are back in the lineup. There's Jordan.
Well, they'll live with that. That's a shot they'd rather give him up. They'd like to force him to shoot the jump shot, or if he drives to the basket, push him to his left.
Moncrief fights off Jordan. Here comes Banks, the 2-on-2. Banks around Sikma, takes it up, and Sikma gets the rebound.
That's a great defense by Sikma, who does not have that foot quickness that Banks has.
Oakley takes the foul, and Paul Pressey will go to the line. Coming up tomorrow, a big day of sports on CBS. We'll kick it off, or tip it off, at 12 noon Eastern time. Oklahoma against Kentucky with the Wildcats on the bubble. Then the NBA on CBS. Philadelphia against the Rockets. Billy Cunningham's old team has lost 4 in a row. And then the final round of the Doral Ryder Open tomorrow from Miami at 4:30 Eastern time. That's all tomorrow on CBS.
Now, the Bulls have to make another adjustment. Cummings comes out of the ball game. Brewer comes in. He's 7'3". Sikma is 7 feet tall. This is a small team, the Bulls. Now, Charles Oakley is going to have to match up with either Brewer or Sikma, and I would expect the Bucks to look to go inside and take advantage of their size difference at the offensive end of the court.
27-19. And Randy Brewer at 7'3" is in the lineup down on Corzine.
Right away, come out, trap, try to take the ball out of Jordan's hands. Take him out of their sets at the offensive end.
Oakley goes left, puts it off the glass, and will have a chance for a three-point play.
Well, that time Milwaukee did not rotate very well defensively. Now, you'll see the trap. We'll watch Pressey, 25, come over and double team, trying Jordan to pick up the ball and put it in Oakley's hand, but they do not react, as you'll watch Oakley at the top of the screen just penetrate for the easy 2 and a possible three-point play.
Timeout, Milwaukee, and time has been called with 4:02 to go, first quarter.
Now, the person I want you to watch is Charles Oakley right here on the screen, and what he does in setting his screen, and this is how Michael Jordan's able to get open for the shot. See, good screen. He has the open jump shot. The next thing I want you to watch is what he does looking to release as soon as Michael Jordan shoots the ball. Why does he do that? He wants to force Michael Jordan to think on that jump shot that he might be giving up an easy 2 points at the other end of the court if he misses that shot.
Jordan with 4 points so far in the game. And Charles Oakley at the line, 2 for 5 from the field so far. As a team, Milwaukee is hitting 10 of 12 from the field, 83%, and Chicago is not at 19. Oakley gets the 3-point play. It's 27-22 at the 4-minute mark of the first quarter.
Now we see that Sidney Moncrief isn't his old self. Now we have a pick and roll.
Paul Pressey takes the jumper. Nope, inside the Brewer.
And that's what they'll look to do. They'll try to get it inside to one of their 2 big men, either Sikma or Brewer. But that was excellent defense by the Bulls on that pick and roll, not allowing that screen and allowing Hodges to go to the hoop.
Oakley, top of the key. Looks for Jordan. Jordan manages to save it. Nope, he did not. He was on the line, says John Van.
Vern, did you see that defense by Moncrief coming out and denying the basketball to Michael Jordan?
Well, Sidney hasn't been a presence on offense, but he certainly may have been a force on defense so far.
Only reason Sidney Moncrief's out there is to help this team win. It doesn't matter.
Traveling on Moncrief. 3:15 to go, first quarter. And Milwaukee up by 7 at 29-22. Check the lineups now. John Paxson, Oakley, Corzine. Brad Sellers has come into the lineup for Chicago, and Michael Jordan.
Well, we just see why Sidney Moncrief has been such a great defensive player, just fighting over the screens and denying that pass.
They're going to give him a rest now, and Ricky Pierce comes in. He's got the best average off the bench of any 6th man in the NBA at 20.3 points per game. Ricky Pierce, number 22.
And he's getting better and better offensively. Last year, he averaged 15 a game.
Michael Jordan will shoot a couple.
Now it's on Craig Hodges, his first penalty.
Craig Hodges with the foul.
You know, I wonder how Ricky Pierce is going to do offensively, because, you know, if I was on a bus coming here for this ball game, the first thing I would be thinking about is, what am I going to do with Michael Jordan? He got 58 last night. And the problem that I'd be concerned with, Vern, is that I might forget about what I do on the court and being too concerned on what I'm going to do to stop Michael Jordan.
Sedale Threed has come in, replacing John Paxson. Now Lucas is back from Milwaukee, and he'll take the place of Craig Hodges. The other night, Jordan hit 26 of 27 free throws. That's the 3rd most free throws ever hit in a regular season game. And the record held by, of all people, Wilt Chamberlain, 28 of 32 when he scored 100 25 years ago. Here's the turnover. Back to Jordan.
Great play by Corzine and Oakley, just making that fine pass, threading the needle.
4-point game, 29-25. That ignites the crowd, which had been kind of sleepwalking through the first quarter. Sleep sitting. John Lucas.
Got to stay down defensively against Sikma.
Jordan roams. Oakley up for the rebound. Brewer gets it. Brewer puts it up and in.
There's that size.
31-25. Sedale Threed, acquired from Philadelphia a month ago. Jordan. And again, he'll go to the line.
Well, we see what happens. Sidney Moncrief goes to the bench. Now, the last 3 times down the court, we see Jordan's able to either get fouled or score. Now we see him popping out, quick baseline move. Sikma not able to come over and give that help. The other thing was Pressey was not able to back off and at least force him to shoot the jump shot, which they'd like to do.
Mike Brown, number 17, comes into the Chicago lineup, replacing Dave Corzine. Corzine has given them a very effective first quarter.
Yeah, very interesting. Now, Doug Collins is going with a smaller lineup against this ball club, and he had success the first time these 2 teams met, beating the Bucks with a smaller lineup.
Paul Pressey on Brad Sellers, back to John Lucas. Sedale Threed. Lucas starts to his left off the screen of Sikma, comes back right. Now Pressey with Sellers, the #1 draft choice on him. Long rebound taken down by Jack Sikma. And Sigma gets the jumper.
Well, big guys are winning so far. They've got 2 offensive rebounds. Last 2 times down the court.
33-27, 1:42 to go. First quarter, Jordan from the baseline, short. And Lucas again with a transition game. Excellent pass. Oh, what a dandy. Sadeo Threet gets the rebound. Right side, Jordan, one-touch pass, Oakley.
Now that'll get a crowd going.
A 4-point game again. 33-29. Chicago has not led. Largest lead has been 8 by Milwaukee. Almost a 2-man game with Sigma and Pressey. Sigma turns around, air ball. Whoops, drew the foul.
When Jack Sigma gets the ball and squares up, he pump fakes you, Vern, and you cannot, the tendency, and as much as the players know and their coaches tell them, keep your feet, don't leave your, and if you do that, he's going to draw the foul.
Gene Banks back in for Chicago. Jack Sigma, of course, acquired from Seattle before Alton Lister in one of the highly publicized trades of the offseason. Has it worked in Milwaukee like they wanted?
Well, I think both teams. You know, you'd like to see trades where they help both teams. I think Lister has just added another dimension to that Seattle ball club. Sigma had been there for many years through the championship year in Seattle, and has got a new life here in Milwaukee. But he started off very slow. What he gives to this ball club is the offense that Lister did not give this club inside, but he also does not give them what Lister did, is that defensive intimidation in the middle.
Junior Bridgman back in the lineup, or in the lineup for the first time now for the Bucks. Jordan tries to work the give and go. Back to Brad Sellers at 7 feet out of Ohio State. Michael beats the double team. Ball is short, not hitting effectively here in the first quarter. Lucas quickly down all the way. And Brewer with a follow shot.
But we see Sadeo Threet did what Doug Collins wanted him to do. Forced him right. Lucas was out of control with that shot. Now, the last time down the court, we saw Jordan posting up, and every time they do that, they're going to double down low on him.
Sadeo Threet,
a streaky shooter. When he gets it going, Sadeo, I've seen him score 20 points in a quarter.
Matter of fact, had only 2 the other night in the win over New Jersey, but he had 21 in the previous win over Atlanta last Tuesday night here. Now 12 seconds on the shot clock.
They're going to look for posting up low, down low to Pierce. Good defense by Banks.
Sigma. Jump ball. With 2 seconds remaining in the first period.
This has been a very high-scoring first period for the Bucks. They normally don't score this many points. They average about 109 during the regular season, and at this rate, they're going to score close to 160. So I think Doug Collins will have a little talk with his team concerning their defense in this first period.
Signal with Brad Sellers. Sellers wins the tip. Knocked out of bounds by Pierce. That'll be the end of the quarter. That's the end of the first period with our score, 37-31. We'll return to Chicago Stadium in Chicago, Illinois, after this word from your local station. John Lucas has been a key cog in the first quarter action for Milwaukee. 11 points and 4 for 5 from the field, including 3 three-pointers. Well-documented problems with drugs. He has played for Houston, Golden State, Washington, San Antonio, Houston again, and now Milwaukee. And John said he thought about it a long time before he agreed to join the Bucks. Took a call from Junior Bridgman and Sidney Moncrief before he agreed to come and try it. And he says this very well might be his last year of basketball because he'd like to go out the front door. And again, he'll be the subject of Pat O'Brien's feature at halftime. Here's Lucas. They forced him right, and he misfired on the shot. Rebound, Gene Banks. Foul called on John Lucas.
And he's a young man everyone in the NBA, or anyone that knows him, is truly rooting for.
Teams first for the quarter.
Coming up, Prudential at the half. Boy, he's meant the world to this Milwaukee franchise with all the injuries they've had. Jordan stripped of the ball. It'll be Chicago's to inbounds.
One thing that Doug Collins likes to do with Sadeo Threet, and when he sees he's on a roll, he likes to spread that court and allow him to penetrate, either shoot the jump shot or go all the way to the hoop.
Jordan tries to get by Brewer. Sadeo Threet.
5 seconds on the 24-second clock.
Oh, you're right. He's a streak shooter. That's 4 for 3.
And he loves it here in Chicago.
Bridgman playing in his 702nd game for Milwaukee. Michael Jordan, he's got Brown left side.
Well, that's when Michael Jordan will truly become a complete player. When his teammates around him, their level of play goes up. Michael Jordan will not have to score the amount of points he's scoring at this time.
37-35. And a chance for the tie game. As in a hurry, Chicago has scored the first 4 points of the second quarter.
And all of a sudden, this quick lineup that Doug Collins has inserted has come back and has been effective against this large, to say the least, Bucks ball club.
Not going to let Paul Pressey in right now. He's going to replace Junior Bridgman.
He wasn't at the scorer's table before the ball was dead.
Sadeo Threet with the last 4 points. Or 2 of them. 4. Brown, Sellers. Too strong. Sickberg with yet 1 more rebound.
But beautiful basketball. They made the extra pass. If they keep doing that, Doug Collins would be ecstatic.
That's 7 rebounds for Jack Sickman the first quarter in 2 minutes. Ricky Pierce. Bridgman back to Pierce. Drives by Banks. And a foul called on Chicago underneath.
Gene Banks reaching from behind. Now they got to get Pierce off. He's a real offensive threat, as we know, averaging over 20 points a game coming off the bench. And he's someone that I'm sure that they'll come in, they'll look to run something at the offensive end of the court for him.
Paul Pressey in the lineup now has replaced Junior Bridgman. Sickma. Nice strong move.
And what did the defensive man do? He lifted up, allowed Sickma to drive to the hole.
39-35 with 10 minutes to go in the first half. Jordan to the baseline. And again, Michael goes to the line, having drawn the foul. As Doug Collins told us yesterday, Terry Cummings getting ready to come in. He has encouraged Jordan to go ahead and lean in on every shot. He said, Michael, you're a superstar. They're going to give you the foul.
You know, Michael has such great athletic ability. When someone would come at him, he had the ability to change his shot 2 or 3 times. And Doug was saying, hey, if someone has committed themselves defensively, take the foul. Get to the foul line. Don't be too cute.
There's Doug Collins.
Boy, he's done some job here, you know, and it's and during the course of this year, you know, players have tried to challenge him a little bit to see who's running the show, but they found out very quickly who is running the show here in Chicago.
Jordan now 5 of 6 from the free throw line. 39-37 with 9:50 to go. Ricky Pierce. Paul Pressey looks at Lucas top of the key, goes left, looks it up, and Brad Sellers with a rebound, and now Chicago, Sadeo Threet to Michael Brown, followed by Sellers.
There's that quickness that they have on the court right now. It's beating the strength of this Buck ball club.
Brad Sellers, the #1 draft choice out of Ohio State, one of those who had tested Doug Collins. And when he did, he was suspended for 1 game and a 4-day period back after Christmas. That has been called by Milwaukee. That's the right foot of Don Nelson. Nice shoes, Don. Of course, he's always been known as a fashion plate around the NBA. Right?
Yeah, you know, he and Doug Moe, I noticed in GQ this week, they have Magic Johnson on the front cover. I think they should get Nelson and Moe on the front cover. And there's his beautiful tie, Vern.
That is a gorgeous tie. Matter of fact, it's so gorgeous, he's got Doug Collins wearing one. Look at that. Is that not, as LBJ said about a painting of him once, that's the ugliest thing I ever saw. But now take a look at Doug Collins when he turns around. He's wearing the exact same kind of tie. It's a fish, right?
It certainly is, and that all started with his wardrobe was so bad in Milwaukee, the fans contributed clothes, and the one item he loved was the ties with a fish on them.
That's a nice looking fish you got around your neck.
Yeah.
From the corner, Ricky Pierce.
How to get him going, and that's what Don Nelson did. The other thing Nelson did with that timeout is he didn't allow this crowd to get too involved in the game. This is a young ball club, and they deal on emotions quite a bit, the Chicago club, that is.
Sadeo Threet, Michael Brown, Michael Jordan, Gene Banks. Oh, boy. Banks got away with a vicious elbow. I mean, he really took charge underneath. Now Milwaukee, 41-39 at the 8:40 mark of the first half. Sidney Moncrief. Michael Jordan gets the foul. Watch Gene Banks at the right-hand side of the screen on Paul Pressey. No foul. No harm, no foul.
That's right. Well, you got to be a tough guy in this game.
That's right. You're talking about television or basketball?
Both. Very good.
41-39. Sadeo 3. 8:20 to go. Gene Banks in the corner.
They'll live with that shot as well. They forced Jordan to give it up. Banks is not an exceptionally good perimeter shooter.
Steal by Sadeo 3. He of the quick hands. Takes it all the way and lays it in.
Sadale Freed is very quick, very active with his hands defensively, and if you turn your back or you're not aware of where he is, he's going to come and get that steal.
You liked that acquisition from Philadelphia for Chicago, didn't you?
I did, but I also understand why Philadelphia did it. They needed someone to back up Maurice Cheeks, and they looked for Coulter.
All Pressey gets 2. And for Pressey, that's 6 points. 43-41, 7:38 to go first half. Largest lead of the game has been 8. We were tied at 39. Jordan. That's the nice soft roll.
You know, the concentration he had on that play. Over the top, he bangs into Cummings, but still able to maintain his concentration on the basket.
Jordan now with 13 points. A very quiet 13. Well, that vicious elbow was caught. That was Sadeo 3.
The only problem is Paul Pressey was the recipient both times.
Both times. Georgetown rolls over Providence 90-75. Michigan trailing Iowa 83-75 in the second half. And Kentucky over Mississippi. You'll see Kentucky tomorrow against Oklahoma on CBS. Randy Brewer being harassed by Michael Brown. From the corners, Ricky Pierce. Rebound, Mike Brown. Michael Jordan is out on the bench now.
Now we'll see how this Bulls team executes their offense. Now again, we see anytime they get a rebound or defensive rebound and push it down the court and they don't have the initial break, they'll look for their big people to immediately go to the box and post up, and that's what they did that time.
Missouri has captured the Big 8 championship by knocking off Iowa State 85-77. Timeout has been called. 6:59 to go first half. We're notched at 43. 35-year-old Doug Collins, the rookie coach of the Bulls. To his left is Gene Littles, who has 12 years of coaching experience. To his right, Dex Winter, who's got 39, and John Bach is also an assistant. I guess Bach has got 37?
36.
36.
36.
So there's 88 years of coaching experience on that bench helping Doug Collins out.
Which was a smart move on Doug's behalf. You know, coming into coaching, first head coaching job, he knew that he was going to need some help in one area, and that was basketball-wise, you know, putting the X's and O's down initially. But I think what's happened is Doug is growing a lot quicker than he even anticipated, and he's even having more and more input in that regard. But he does rely on those people, and he just feels that they've been so helpful to him in his growth.
Michael Brown, number 17, played in Italy last year after having been drafted in the 3rd round 2 years ago by Chicago.
He was the Rookie of the Year over in Italy.
Found himself an Italian wife, as a matter of fact. There's the jumper, good. Sadeo 3. With 8 points. Now that is the first Chicago lead since early on.
And again, we talked about Sadale. When he gets it rolling, they're going to have to do something to deny him the ball or take him out of that rhythm that he's got right now offensively.
John Paxson gets the outlet pass from Michael Brown. Jordan stays on the bench. Brown for Oakley. Too strong.
Almost threw it in the hole.
Here comes Paul Pressey, right side to Terry Cummings. Doubled down, Pressey. Back to Ricky Pierce. Randy Brewer gets 2.
There's that size looking inside. I think Milwaukee's got to show a little more patience to get that ball into Brewer.
Brewer with 8 points off the bench. 45 all with 5:55 to go first half. Banks gets his own rebound and will shoot a couple.
Well, he's lucky. He forced the shot there and was able to get the good bounce and get the offensive rebound.
Coming up tomorrow on CBS at 12 noon Eastern Time, the Oklahoma Sooners against the Kentucky Wildcats. Oklahoma has relinquished the Big 8 championship to Missouri, along with Kansas also relinquishing it to Missouri. But you'll see Oklahoma and Kentucky tomorrow. Dave Corzine back in the lineup. And at the line, Gene Banks, 2 of 4 from the line today.
Now, Gene Banks would like to become an anchor man when he gets finished bouncing this basketball.
Not another one.
Now, I guess we'll have to send him to see Pat O'Brien now that he's doing some of that work, huh?
That's right. Yeah, let him go after that anchor work and stay away from the play-by-play and the analytical stuff, huh?
That's right.
Greg Hodges back in the lineup for Milwaukee, and there's John Lucas. Lucas with 11 first-quarter points. A quiet force here in the second quarter. Terry Cummings takes the jumper and hits it. 47-46, Milwaukee back on top. And Cummings now with 8 points. Sedale 3. He'll shoot a couple. Greg Hodges with a foul. Check this Milwaukee lineup now with Jordan getting a rest. Hodges draws the foul. Sedale 3, Dave Corzine, John Paxson, Charles Oakley, and Gene Banks.
One thing I think, Sedale is really looking for his jump shot more than anything. So if I was playing him, I think I'd try to get up on him and push him a little bit to his right. He loves to go to his left and shoot that jump shot and maybe force him to do something he'd rather not do at this point of the game. You know, when you play against these players, they're so phenomenal, Vern, is you have put a list down. What are their pluses and what are their minuses? And you try to take some of their strength away from them at the offensive end of the court, as a team as well as individuals.
Milwaukee now has John Lucas, Terry Cummings, Randy Brewer. Lucas with the left-handed jumper, and a rebound by Charles Oakley.
Great
to Corzine. Back to Paxson. They had Banks open underneath. Didn't see him. Paxson can't hit it. Greg Hodges, Milwaukee forcing the tempo. Brings it up. Ricky Pierce, and that's no good. Again, Oakley with the baseball pass. Banks has Paxson right side, but he'll take the shot himself. And the tip is good from Corzine.
You know, there's one thing we have to point out. Michael Jordan is sitting on the bench, and as we said, this team is growing with confidence. And, you know, they're just going out and they believe in themselves at this point, and they know how great Michael is and how important he is, but they have that confidence in themselves.
Traveling before the shot. That is the 8th Milwaukee turnover. They've only been averaging 15 per game. There's Michael Jordan on the bench getting a nice lengthy rest now.
Now, I would expect them to, now this time Chicago, maybe look inside to Oakley. He's a player that has not touched the ball very much offensively, but I guess they're not.
Sedale 3. Oakley with the rebound. Jump ball. Randy Brewer.
Oh, Randy Brewer never left his feet. Now, Charles Oakley's about 6'9", and Brewer's 7'3", and he just put that hand up and blocked the shot.
Jack Sikma back into the lineup for Ricky Pierce.
Now, they have a very big lineup in there now, the Bucks, with Brewer 7'3", Sikma 7 feet, and Terry Cummings close to 6'10".
John Bannock says, let's try and jump it again. Randy Brewer says that Terry Durham. There's the rebounds now, Chicago, and that's been mostly Oakley. Lucas controls for the Bucks. 50-47. Chicago leads by 3. 4 minutes before the half. Greg Hodges.
That was all made possible by John Lucas's penetration. Hodges, he knows, is going to be looking to spot up.
37-31 Milwaukee at the end of the first quarter, and the Bulls are on top by 1 now. Vern Lundquist and Bill Cunningham. Michael Jordan getting ready to come back in. Paxson, terrific feed to Oakley.
Beautiful.
Just shoveled it left-handed to Charles Oakley.
Well, what happened is Brewer stepped out and just left that lane wide open for Oakley.
Lucas with the three-pointer is not good, but Cummings' follow shot is.
And he got fouled by Charles Oakley coming over the back. Now watch Brewer on the, excuse me, it was Jack Sikma stepping out, and there's that allowed Paxson to find Oakley wide open underneath.
Derek Cummings now with a chance for the three-point play. Oakley goes to the bench. And Jordan back in. Now Michael Brown also getting ready to rejoin the lineup for Chicago. Brown had a stretch of about 11 games in which he just played with exemplary skill, but has been a little bit of a slump recently.
Well, he's a rookie, and you go through those ups and downs, and you have to gain the confidence. And number one, you have to find out, can I play? And once you achieve that, how good can I play? And your goals constantly are going up, but it's very difficult on a rookie. Hey, you're playing 82 regular season games, 8 exhibition games, and then the playoffs. A lot of games.
Jordan. Michael's got 15.
And that might be the longest rest he's had all year in one stretch. He sat out for nearly 7 minutes.
Derek Cummings. Sigma, nice rebound.
Now the thing that's amazing about the success of great move by Lucas. But the success that the Bucks have had on the offensive boards, this Chicago team statistically is the best defensive rebounding team in the league.
13 points now for John Lucas, a 54-54 ball game, 2.5 before halftime. Paxson. Nice save, but it goes right in the hands of Hodges, and here's Lucas.
The easy two. Now you see Don Nelson on the sideline. He wanted them to really pick up, put the full court pressure on, but the players did not see him and weren't able to react.
Milwaukee up by 2, 56-54 with 2:06 to go.
Big mismatch now with Craig Hodges having to play against Michael Jordan. Now they've switched.
Lucas on Jordan, touch from Cummings. Corzine tries to tip it. Jordan will take it all the way up. Offensive foul.
Excellent call by John Vanek. There's a case where Michael Jordan should have just pulled up, shot the 8-foot jump shot. Instead, he tried to force it inside.
Michael Jordan is third.
Now here's Gene Banks again trying to power it inside. He's only 6'5". And those guys he's trying to go over are 7 feet tall. Here's where Jordan should have pulled up instead of trying to power it inside.
Time has been called with 1:52 to go in the first half. 1:52 before halftime, and at the half, Pat O'Brien is going to Pat right now for a preview.
All right, Vern, thank you. I see they start him early here. Coming up at the half, an update on the SMU death penalty. We'll visit the campus. Then we'll hear from John McLeod, who lost his job this week in Phoenix, and a success story. His name is John Lucas. All that coming up where we always are at the half. Let's go back downstairs.
Our score 56-54, Milwaukee on top. Been an interesting game so far.
It very much so. The thing that's impressed me is that Chicago's only committed 3 turnovers so far in this game. And that's exceptional, especially against Milwaukee, who leads the team, leads the league in creating turnovers. So what it says is that Doug Collins has his team well prepared for the defenses they're going to see against this Bucks team.
John Paxson on Paul Pressey. Milwaukee's got a lineup now. Pressey, Brewer, Sigma, and a whistle from John Vanek, along with Terry Cummings and Craig Hodges. Leading scorers so far, Lucas with 11 of his 15 in the first quarter, and Jordan with 15 points. So funny, we were here Thursday night when Michael scored the 58. He had 17 at the end of the quarter, and you and I looked at each other and said, where'd he get those?
It was so easy. In that ball game where he scored 58, Vern, honest to goodness, I don't think he took 3 jump shots outside of 15 feet of the basket. Everything was in the lane, getting to the foul line. As a matter of fact, Buck Williams, remember when he came over near the table where we were sitting and just looked over at us and he said, do you have any suggestions?
That was Buck looking at Billy saying, what can I do against this guy? Well, Buck got something from you. He scored 35 last night. Career high in New Jersey's win. But it was an extraordinary performance by Jordan on Thursday. Here's Sadeo 3. How's that for a mismatch against 7'3" Randy Brewer?
But there's a mismatch underneath. Someone's got to have a small player on him. They were able to get back defensively with Chicago.
Corzine.
Didn't have his feet together that time, Vern. Didn't have control of the ball.
Doug switches, or rather calls, Doug Collins calls number 3 from the sidelines. Now they work a 3-man game left side. Paxson, Banks, Banks with the jumper, and it's good.
That was excellent defense and a fine shot by Banks. You know, they did everything you could do at the defensive end of the court. Gene Banks just hit a tough shot.
Final 50 seconds, first half, 57-56, Milwaukee. Back to Craig Hodges. Pressey, turnaround jumper. Rebound, Corzine, and a foul over the back on Jack Sickman.
And they'll shoot at the other end. They're in the penalty. Now with 36 seconds to go, it'll be interesting to see if Don Nelson looks to get 2 shots because of the 24-second clock, or he'll just come down and look to get a good shot. If they come quickly and have the ability to shoot the ball within, say, 6 seconds, Vern, they'll be able to get one more possession.
Elston Turner getting ready to come into the lineup. Didn't play Thursday night. E.T. once a draft choice of the Dallas Mavericks and then spent time in Denver. He's a defensive gem, and Brad Sellers also getting set to come in. Corzine at the line. We got John Lucas coming in now, Cummings, and Ricky Pierce from Milwaukee. And Sellers and Turner come into the lineup for the Chicago Bulls.
Well, the one reason is that Banks has 2 fouls. Doug does not want him to pick up a cheap third one here with 36 seconds to play. He wants him to have the 2 and be able to go out and play aggressively in the second half. Now, putting Elston Turner in for Paxson, simple matter that Elston Turner happens to be an outstanding defensive player, and he wants to put him in there instead of Paxson.
And Turner is trailing John Lucas all over the line. For 3, Hodges, he's got 61 this year. Quick pass to Elston Turner for 2.
Oh, you see that Doug Collins made an excellent substitution. You know, that he put his defensive team in there, and they were able to create a missed shot and also get an easy basket.
Now E.T. on Lucas.
Spreading the court, going to let him penetrate and either dish off or take it himself.
Misses the shot. Michael Brown. That's the end of the first half with our score. Milwaukee 57, Chicago 59. Matt O'Brien will be back with At the Half from the Chicago Stadium in Chicago after this message.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Basketball Association is sponsored by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? Visa, accepted worldwide for shopping, dining, and travel. Visa, it's everywhere you want to be. And by Milky Way Bar. A Milky Way a day helps you work, rest, and play.
We're at 67-year-old Chicago Stadium, where the Milwaukee Bucks trail the Chicago Bulls 59-57 at halftime. We talked about Don Nelson and Doug Collins and their repertoire of ties. Is that not awful?
Yours is ugly. I kind of like my Barracuda.
Yeah, you're Barracuda, all right. Well, you come to Chicago, you never know, folks. This may set a new fashion trend. That's an official tie. Well, you want to talk about the half?
I think let's get to the half. I thought that both teams played very good basketball in the first half. The thing that was fascinating to me is that the excellent job that the Chicago Bulls did while Michael Jordan was sitting on the bench. That's something that earlier in the year you would not have seen. You know, Michael Jordan for them early in the year would have to play 24 minutes to keep them in this ball game. But Doug Collins has brought this team along. I think Don Nelson has to be pretty pleased where he is too, with only down 2 points. When you look at the box score and you see where Sidney Moncrief has 2 points and Price has 2 points, and that's something that I'm sure he's going to look to turn around early in this half.
Don Nelson now in his 11th year. This team going after its 8th consecutive division title. And they're not accustomed to being 2.5 back at this. They're used to being in the lead, but I think the schedule might favor Milwaukee down the road.
And Don Nelson likes this. It's something different, something new, a great challenge, and he feels very confident that his team can come back and challenge for that division lead. You know, when you look at Detroit's schedule, who's now leading this division, they play their last 13 out of 17 games on the road, and there's a West Coast trip in there as well. So they're going to have their hands full to maintain that lead.
Milwaukee will inbound. John Lucas, Paul Pressey, Sidney Moncrief, Jack Sickman, Terry Cummings. Starting quintet in for them. And for Chicago, Paxson, Michael Jordan, Gene Banks, Corzine, and Charles Oakley. Battle on the floor, won by Sickma, off the glass and in.
The one thing you notice, though, Sidney Moncrief does not have that feeling, you know, from being out for so long, his timing is just not right, because that's a move that is his strength, and he doesn't miss that very often.
Paxson, Jordan with Pressey on him.
Well, you see how aggressive that Don Nelson has his team defensively. There was the pick and roll, and Sigma stepping out, stopping Paxson coming off that screen.
Inbounded by Banks. Corzine finds Paxson.
Right now there's a mismatch. Corzine's got Moncrief on him.
Nice move by Banks, but then he misses the shot, and Moncrief takes care of it for Milwaukee. Lucas picked up by Banks, goes right side for Sidney Moncrief. Across to Sigma. Pressey for three.
Now this Milwaukee team looks for the three-point shot more than any team in the NBA. I think one of the reasons, Vern, is they really only have one forward, you would say, on their team, Terry Cummings. The rest are guards or the 7-footers.
Corzine to Oakley. Nice pass to Michael Jordan, but the shot's not there. And the rebound comes down Milwaukee's way as Pressey brings it up. Left side to Cummings. Shot short, taken and saved by Paxson. John Paxson having the best of his 3 years as a pro. That shot won't fall. Kind of a slow start for both teams. Whistle, foul underneath.
You wonder if Gene Banks will realize that he's having a tough time in there, because these guys are 7 feet tall. And if he does anything, he's got to fake them or take the ball to the other side of the hoop to be effective when he's in that deep.
10-13 to go. 62-59 Milwaukee. Jordan.
He just beat two players, you know. It would look so easy, but there's maybe 2 or 3 players in all of basketball that can do that.
Ball rejected by Corzine.
You see Oakley setting that screen and popping out. Now watch, Terry Cummings comes over and helps. He just slides right through. Just beautiful.
Long rebound, Michael Jordan. Jordan now with 17. Bounce pass to Corzine. Corzine takes the shot with a 1-on-4 edge for Milwaukee underneath the basket.
You're right, Vern. That's a shot he shouldn't have taken. Did not have the advantage.
Sigma. Terry Cummings. Illegal defense. And now Billy Cunningham will spend the next hour explaining the philosophy and technique of illegal defense.
Well, I think I know it, and I did not see any illegal defense that time.
Well, we got a timeout for you to think about it. Sometimes it's not so tough. Bill Cunningham had 90 seconds and found the illegal defense.
Well, thanks to you, Vern. You pointed it out to me, but here's the man illegal. Charles Oakley, the man he is supposed to be guarding, is right there. Now watch what happens. He's still there. He's still there. Now the ball swings, and he's just not moving, playing anybody, and he tries to recover. Now, what he had to do to be legal is to go back and double-team Terry Cummings. If he did that, he would not have been in an illegal defense.
And now you all understand illegal defenses.
Thank you, Vern, for that little... Thank goodness we had that commercial time. You could explain it to me.
Thank you, Professor Cunningham. 62-61. Here's Cummings left side, guarded by Oakley.
Looking to force him to the middle if they can, and then they'll look to double. You see Paxson right there.
Pressey for three. Gets it again. Pressey with 15 points now.
But you see, with the lineup that they have on the court, with Moncrief, Lucas, Pressey, Cummings, they'd like to spread the court and allow these guys to either penetrate or to look to spot up for those three-point shots, and they're so effective doing it.
Milwaukee is 4 of 5 on three-pointers. Oakley to Corzine. Gets the bounce. Corzine not expecting the pass, puts it up anyway and gets it.
Well, that's a lucky shot, Corzine.
Yes.
He just threw that one towards the iron, but you see how Corzine and Oakley love to pass the ball to each other.
65-63, Moncrief.
Just doesn't look right, Vern. He's not going up strong for that jump shot. I'm sure that knee is bothering him.
Gene Banks rejected by Cummings, and then Corzine puts it up. Banks is going to get a Purple Heart before it's over.
Well, you wonder. Now we'll see this. When he gets the ball inside, there's 3 people that are going to surround him, and Terry Cummings gets the block. But he able to battle in there and draw the foul.
I mean, it never ends, and it wasn't like that at Duke.
No, it wasn't. He could let Juminski do all that work when he was down at Duke.
Even the student section wasn't that tough. Here's Banks to shoot 2.
Gene Banks adds an enthusiasm and an aggressiveness for this ball club, and I think he was an excellent addition to this club. You know, if you look at the players that were traded from this team, from Woolridge and Daly left the ball club, Oldham, Coulter, Green, George Gervin's no longer with them. Before the season, I could not figure out how they would score 100 points, but sometimes in basketball you add by subtracting, and it appears that they've done that here in Chicago.
Banks misses both. Milwaukee has the lead and the ball. Sidney Moncrief, that's short. Paul Pressey puts it up after a fine rebounding effort and gets 2.
When a team shoots long jump shots, that means there's long rebounds, so you have to check your man further out on the court. And there was a case where Pressey was not checked out.
Michael going one-on-one with Cummings. Banks, that's a poor decision.
Yeah, Gene Banks, for some reason today, is a little too aggressive offensively. He's the type of player that he's got to get out and run, get a few loose balls here and there, or get a dish off from Michael Jordan going to the hoop. And I think that's one of the reasons that Doug Collins is taking him out of the game. You know, he's just forcing a little too much offensively.
Brad Sellers, good pass to Oakley.
Oakley just threw Cummings to the backstop and was able to receive that direct pass.
67-65. Oakley now with 10 points. Jack Sickman takes it in on Corzine. Fans wanted a 3-second call, didn't get one. Loose ball foul in the backcourt. Moncrief.
Now, in the first half, we saw Sickman able to get the young of Oakley and Sellers off their feet and draw the contact or drive around them. We saw Corzine, the veteran, knew that he had to keep his feet on the floor. He probably could, he's not a very good jumper. That's probably what helped him in that situation, but forced the bad shot.
But Brad Sellers at 7 feet brings the call ball across the timeline. Now Cummings from Milwaukee. 67-65, Milwaukee leads. Cummings by Paxson, lays it off for Pressey, looks for the three-pointer and stepped out of bounds. Michael Jordan caught an elbow on that last rebound.
Well, Michael Jordan caught the elbow, but he should have been checking Sidney Moncrief further out in the court and not allow him to get that running start for the offensive boards, because that's one real strength of Sidney Moncrief, getting to the offensive boards from the guard position.
John Paxson looks for Jordan roaming the sideline. Bounce pass into Corzine. Turn around over Sickma. It's good.
Isn't it something how they play? Jordan wasn't open, so Paxson, he looks for Corzine. They're not just standing around waiting for Michael Jordan to do something, and they've been doing it, especially starting this second half here.
Well, we're tied at 17, and Jordan has only 17 of those 67. We're tied at 67, rather. Here's Lucas. Oakley looks for the outlet for Jordan.
Well, you see what happens when you force him to the right. He ends up going off balance, leaning the wrong way when he goes up for that off balance one-hander.
Oakley to Sellers. Too strong. Cummings rebound. Milwaukee. 67 all with 6 minutes to go. Third quarter. John Lucas lays it off for Cummings. The shot is short. Oakley hit as he tries to fire it. And Cummings gets 2.
Well, they were lucky that time, the Bucks.
5:45 to go third quarter. Vern Lundquist and Bill Cunningham here in Chicago Stadium. Michael Jordan, top of the key, not there. And here's Lucas, as expected, forcing it all the way inside. Bounces off of Jordan, gets the ball to Cummings, gets the roll and in.
Excellent move, and that what the Bucks are doing defensively now. Anytime Jordan comes off the screen, unless it's set by the center, they're switching out. In that case, Cummings switched out.
22nd timeout called by Chicago, as the Bucks are up for a 71-67 lead. Now they're going to take the full timeout. 5:29 to go third quarter. Bucks up by 4. 5:29 to go third quarter. 71-67. Milwaukee up by that 4-point margin now. Elsewhere in college basketball, Purdue over Ohio State at the half by 8. Purdue ranked 6th in the country. A freshman defeat of Indiana. Clemson leading Duke at the half, and UCLA knocks off Louisville 99-86. UCLA won the Pac-10 earlier this week, and Nebraska trails Kansas 43-41 at the half. At the conclusion of the game, Billy Cunningham and I will select the Miller Lite Player of the Game. In conjunction with the award, Light Beer will present a check in the amount of $1,000 in the player's name to the Thurgood Marshall Black Education Fund. 71-67 Milwaukee. Chicago inbounds with Brad Sellers, and full court pressure applied by the Milwaukee Bucks.
And they got Michael Jordan handling the basketball. They'll try and, I know Donnie Nelson wanted Lucas to deny that ball to force Jordan to set up the offense and switch spots with Paxson.
Jordan setting up at a high post now. Breaks away from Pressey. 4 on the shot clock. He's not having a great shooting day.
Well, the reason is because of the defense the Bucks are employing right now. They've come out of the locker room and they've made some adjustments. As I mentioned, they're looking to switch out anytime he comes off any type of screen, except if it's set by the center.
Bucks go with Pressey. Ricky Pierce has it now, but with only 2 points in the game. Sigma from the corner. Long rebound taken down by Brad Sellers of Chicago. John Paxson quickly over to Michael Jordan. Double pump, gets the shot to fall.
You know, the funny thing, there was a situation where Chicago was able to get Jordan the basketball out of transition, which is really tough to, you just have to pick up and play straight man-to-man. But this is an area of his game that Doug Collins feels that has to improve, getting out into the open court. Because, if you think of Julius Erving, and there's so many comparisons made between the two, Julius Erving, he gets into the open court, he attacks. Michael does not like to attack in the open court unless he's wide open for the dunk.
That three-point play shaves the margin to 1, 71-70. With 4:20 to go, third quarter. Now, three-man game on the right side. Sigma. Shovel pass. Cummings with the turnaround. And a whistle before the shot. 3-second violation. Michael Jordan, an average of 37.5. 4 games versus Milwaukee, 29.8. He's got 20 today. He had a season low 11 points against Milwaukee back in December, but he went out with a knee injury with 5 seconds to go in the first half and was only 3 for 17 from the field in that game. Here's Lucas quickly. Ricky Pierce, count the basket, go to the line. Michael Jordan gets the foul. That's 4 fouls on Jordan.
And it's decision time for Doug Collins. Does he take him out and sit him down for the last 4 minutes of this period and then bring him back? It looks like that's what he's going to do.
Yep, John Paxson gets up and he'll come in.
Now, the thing that you have to be concerned with, if you're at the other end of the court, Don Nelson, his team sees Jordan go to the bench. Do now they feel, oh boy, a sigh of relief. We got him off the court. Now we're under control. Or do they just say, hey, now we have a chance to really go after them, which they didn't do in the first half. And Chicago was very successful with Jordan on the bench. Here comes the trap.
Sadeo Threet, number 3, comes across the timeline, guarded by John Lucas. He looks for Michael Brown. Chicago going with Threet, Brown, Paxson, Brad Sellers, and Oakley. Threet with the rebound. And a fresh 24 on the clock for Chicago. From the corner, Oakley. Sigma misses the rebound. Sellers with the follow.
What happened is Sigma just mistimed the ball. He thought it was just going to come off on one bounce, and it just nicked the rim, and he was just out of sync, and Sellers was able to pick it up.
74-72. Well, there were 3:45 to go in a 4-point Milwaukee lead when Michael Jordan went down, so we'll see what happens now. That's the 11th turnover for Milwaukee.
Vern, that's a play that Don Nelson's been running for the 11 years he's been in pro basketball. He loves to hit the elbow and then post up a guard down low, and that's what they were trying to do, but they had good defensive pressure on Sigma and an errant pass.
Brad Sellers follows his own shot. Michael Brown gets it. Should have taken the shot, but fires underneath.
More importantly, they got to settle down and run something constructive offensively. They're just not doing that right now.
Sadeo Threet fouls Ricky Pierce.
Well, there's an example. Those quick hands got him in trouble.
2 minutes and 51 seconds to go. Third quarter. Timeout has been called. here on CBS. Your 76ers are struggling a little bit right now.
Yes, they are. When you're injured the way they are now, with starting out with Ruland and expecting so much from him in the middle, and Matty Gukas having to play 7 players every night, the wear and tear catches up with you through the NBA.
Which is something with which Milwaukee is accustomed, having had Pressey and Moncrief out for so long. Now Ricky Pierce at the line.
But if you look at Houston, where they've had the injury, they had the problem with Ralph Sampson, and then the problems with Wiggins and Lewis going into rehab centers. They're playing the best basketball they've played all year. So you never know, and I get the credit's got to go to Bill Fitch and keeping that team together.
Ricky Pierce, who may be the only player ever from Walla Walla, Washington Junior College to make it in the NBA.
Well, we see them throwing a token trap. What they're trying to do is just to force them to use a little of the clock and create a turnover here and there.
How about that move by Pressey? And Lucas gets it. Now settles it down, 76-72 with 2.5 to go, third quarter. Paul Pressey.
3-man game, looking inside to Cummings. Oh, isn't that beautiful? What they do is they just have the 2 men on the baseline playing together and the man making the pass, the other 2 wide on the weak side.
A 6-point lead now. It was 4 when Jordan left at the 3:45 mark in the third quarter. Jordan on the bench with 4 fouls.
That's the man right there that's got to add some offense to this ball club.
Oakley takes the shot and hits.
Now, if one thing Charles runs into problems with Oakley is sometimes he starts forcing up shots a little too far out of his range. When he plays under control, posting up and shooting that 12, 15-footer, he's an excellent basketball player.
Milwaukee immediately goes back to the 3-man game, and Cummings works on Oakley. Pretty good matchup right there. 4 on the shot clock. The turnaround is good.
Yeah, but there's not much Charles Oakley can do in that situation, not getting any help defensively, because Terry Cummings has all the moves. He can shoot the jump shot. He can go left or to his right, so tough position for him.
Cummings with 17. Sadeo Threet underneath to Oakley. Over Sigma. Tries it again and gets it to fall.
Now, I wouldn't be surprised if Doug Collins makes some kind of adjustment. He likes his big people to play head up inside, but if they have more success looking inside, now we see the 3-man game again with Sigma and Ricky Pierce. He's going to go in, and then he'll come, if he has the chance, he'll go out.
Sigma. Oakley with the rebound. That's 9 rebounds for Charles Oakley. Sadeo Threet looks inside for Michael Brown. Strong move by Brown. Puts Sigma on his back, as well as our cameraman, John Aguirre. And John can't get up.
Hang in there, John. It beats working.
80-78, final 39 seconds of the third quarter. Follow shot by Ricky Pierce. He had only 2 at the half, and he's been a constant presence off the bench here in the third quarter.
Well, I think after this game, any team that plays against John Lucas is going to look to force him to the right because he hasn't had much success.
Brad Sellers to John Paxson. Paxson penetrates, puts up the jumper and cans it.
Big shot. John has been struggling so far today. Not a very smart foul there by Sellers in the backcourt with Pressey.
Randy Brewer coming in from Milwaukee now, as well as Elston Turner for the Chicago Bulls. Jack Sicknell will sit down. And John Paxson will get a rest for Chicago.
And now Elston Turner is matched up with Ricky Pierce, and that's going to be quite a matchup because Elston Turner is an outstanding defensive ball player, and we know that Ricky Pierce can put the ball in the hole.
Greg Hodges. That's 2.
He didn't waste any time coming off the bench.
Ball nearly stolen. Sadeo Threet gets it back.
He actually walked on that play.
That's the end of the third quarter with our score 84-80. Milwaukee will return to Chicago Stadium in Chicago after this word from your local station. Back for the final quarter from a sold-out Chicago Stadium in Chicago, Illinois. The Milwaukee Bucks lead Chicago 84-80. I'm Vern Lundquist along with Bill Cunningham. Michael Jordan gets back into the lineup, playing with 4 fouls. And the Bulls will also have Elston Turner. There's Michael, 20 points now. And 4 fouls, perhaps the most significant factor.
Now, in the fourth quarter, Don Nelson was saying to me that Michael Jordan likes to take over a lot more in this period. And they'll look to double team. We see it right away. They're going to double team him anytime he touches the ball in the fourth quarter, because that's where he's at his best.
Inside on Craig Hodges, but the shot's not there. And here's Hodges, number 15. Now in the first half, for a brief period, Hodges was on Jordan, and Jordan spurted. Rebound Sellers off of Ricky Pierce's shot. Elston Turner in the backcourt, double team, but gets it across the timeline. Now they've got Paul Pressey on Michael Jordan. Spread the court, look at him drive the lane, and again, Bill, it's just not as sharp as we've seen him.
Yeah, that was Michael Jordan missing that. It had nothing to do with the defense from Milwaukee.
Terry Cummings doesn't miss. He's got 19 in the game.
But I would come back right with that same play if I was Doug Collins, because it was so effective. They'll set a screen out high, and Michael has the choice. Penetrate, find the open man. This
time it's Cummings and Pressey doubling on Jordan. Michael Brown has to try and get it over 7-3 Randy Brewer. Saves it. 4 on the shot clock. Jordan for 3. Brewer, long rebound. 86-80, Ricky Pierce, offensive foul.
It appeared to be a good call.
That was a chancy move by Jordan, don't you think?
Well, yeah, you know, and if I'm Doug Collins, I would want to say, hey, Michael, let this one go. Well, he moved in there, too. He moved that left shoulder, and that could have been an offensive foul, a defensive foul on him, and a 5th foul, and he'd have to go right to the bench again.
That, as a result, is the 4th foul on Ricky Pierce. Elston Turner underneath, good pass from Turner. Oh, dandy.
But because Michael Jordan was running on the baseline, everybody was jumping out. That freed the direct pass from Elston Turner.
86-82, 10-20 to go in the game. Another offensive foul. This one called on Paul Pressey.
Pushing off with the left arm, going to the hole. Now they need a little spurt right here, Chicago. Get this crowd involved in the game, because they're dying to get involved. This team has won 3 games in a row. The Bucks have won 8 out of their last 9. So 2 teams that are playing good basketball at this time of the year.
Milwaukee 2.5 back of Detroit. Sellers. And that'll be inbounded by Milwaukee.
Poor shot selection by Charles Oakley at that point.
86-82, 9:57 remaining. Largest lead of the game has been 8. Largest Chicago lead was 3 at 52-49.
We have a replay of that.
I think it was a design play.
Absolutely, and it's something they worked on yesterday. They were trying to throw the ball off the backboard right here. Now watch it thrown up, because Brewer lets Corzine get in front of him, and he's looking for that ball coming off the backboard. Great play.
It was a design play. Timeout has been called. Back in a moment. The gray-haired fella down in that huddle is Del Harris, and that play reminded you of something he drew up once.
Absolutely, Vern. In 1980, playing against the Boston Celtics when he was coaching the Houston Rockets, he had a very big lineup, and one man, especially Moses Malone, and he would have Billy Pauls with the ball at the foul line, and they would look to throw it off the backboard, because on that last play we saw Corzine fronting Brewer. That was great defense. So what his play was, hey, play the good defense, we'll throw it off the board, you get it, you lay it in. So the credit's got to go to Del Harris, and I'm sure Don Nelson would be the first one to give him that credit.
By the way, the other assistant on the bench for Milwaukee is Rick Majerus, who was associated with Marquette University for years and years. There's Rick. And passed up as the head coach at Marquette to join Don Nelson as an assistant in the NBA.
Well, assistants that have worked under Don Nelson have gone on and had some very good careers. And one we can think of right now is Mike Schuler, who called Don last night as soon as they beat Detroit to let him know that they had done that, especially seeing that Portland had beat Milwaukee twice, and they're trying to beat Detroit for this division.
Randy Brewer gets them both. 9:40 to go in the ball game. A 6-point Milwaukee lead.
Pick and roll out high.
Michael goes left. Oh, And then he goes left again.
I think you'll see a lot of that coming down. They'll look to set that high screen and let Michael. They have 3 players on the baseline looking for the pass.
That shot is good by Paul Pressey, and he'll go to the line. Watch Michael Jordan.
Now Michael's going to get a screen. Corzine's going to look to come up. He sees the screen, and he just slides right in the lane. He goes left, he goes right, and then back to the left. But, you know, coming back the other way, Pressey just had great penetration to the basket. And when you play Paul Pressey, very similar to Michael Jordan, I would think. You know, you have to back off him a little bit, push him to his left, because he's so strong going to the right with the basketball.
Doesn't get the three-pointer. Jordan gets the rebound. Let's check the Chicago lineup now. Jordan in the backcourt, along with Sadale Threet. They've got Corzine, who sets the screen for Michael Jordan. Elston Turner on the left wing and Oakley underneath. Elston Turner gets it. And for Milwaukee, Sigma, Craig Hodges, Ricky Pierce, Paul Pressey, and Randy Brewer underneath.
We might see that play the rest of this half.
Sigma traveled.
Indecision. Jack Sigma is struggling. It just doesn't seem the same as he was in the past. He's had some good shots he hasn't converted. Right there was a situation where normally Jack Sigma would go up for the jump shot or make a strong move to the basket.
The pass from Corzine, and Michael Jordan goes to the line again. I think it took Sigma something like 46 games before he went over the 20-point barrier in his first year with Milwaukee. That's unexpected.
Yeah, and, you know, he's playing with a team where there is some very good offensive players. You know, when you have an all-star, Sidney Moncrief, who's in the ball game now, and Paul Pressey, and you have Hodges, who's a great shooter, and Pierce, Terry Cummings. So he had to make some adjustments to his ball game for this ball club.
Jordan now 7 of 8 from the line today. He has been at the free throw line 619 times this year. Moses Malone is next in the league, and he's in the 500 somewhere.
I don't think I got to the line 619 times in my whole career.
John Lucas still on the bench, but Sidney Moncrief back in the lineup. Pressey to Sidney Moncrief with Jordan on him. Jordan playing with 4. Ricky Pierce went to the bench with 5 fouls a moment ago, and Sigma hits.
Boy, that's such a confidence builder for a player. When the last time down, he turns the ball over, he doesn't show confidence, and the coach calls his number. Just a great job by the coach.
Here's the play again. Jordan rejected by Sigma. Brewer gets it. Then Corzine gets it back. And Michael goes to the line for a three-pointer.
Well, Don Nelson is beside himself walking up and down the sideline. They played perfect defense on this. Jordan goes to the hole. They surround him, force the turnover, and then bang, Brewer throws it away, and there's a three-point play.
26 for Michael Jordan. Don Nelson wants a timeout. Michael Jordan, 26 points. He has become one of the biggest stars in the NBA. Well, not Superman exactly today, 9 of 21, but boy, when, as you said, Bill, to open the fourth quarter, they're going to let him run that play over and over and over.
Yeah, thank goodness he's not afraid of heights.
If he continues to score at a 37.5 point per game average, he will become only the second man in NBA history to go over 3,000 and the first guard to ever do it. Now, if he scores at that average over the final 29 games, he joins Wilt Chamberlain. That's a pretty select company.
Yeah, it's like batting 400 in baseball. It's just a phenomenal feat, especially being a guard. And, you know, of course, Wilt Chamberlain, that's unbelievable. He scored over 4,000, averaged over 50 points in one season. And in that year, he averaged over 48 minutes played.
92-91, Bulls have shaved it to 3. Jordan has 27.
There's a three-man game against Vern. Looking to get inside to Sigma or Moncrief for the shot.
Moncrief on Jordan. Offensive foul on Sidney Moncrief.
Moncrief is very upset with this. Now I'm interested to see what are they going to do this time down the court if they run that same play. Well, it's interesting. They're not going to look to run it. They're going to just have it popping off screens.
And that's what Jordan does on the left side. Scoop shot. He'll shoot a couple more.
You know what? That's a good play by Doug Collins, because I'm sure Don Nelson spent that time out explaining, now these are the adjustments we're going to make on this play when Corzine sets the screen and Jordan comes off. Doug Collins comes out and he said, hey, let's run something different and get Michael the ball in a different position.
28 points in the ball game.
I also, if I was Don Nelson, I'd come to the other end, run the same play against Michael Jordan, trying to draw that fifth foul, because he's playing a star. Sidney Moncrief is a star. The last time down, the official called it against Sidney. Put the pressure on the official to make that call.
Here's Craig Hodges, and Moncrief has it. Let's see if he goes right at Michael Jordan. Looks around. Sigma. Brewer, jump ball. Dave Corzine and Randy Brewer. Hey, if Corzine is playing in his hometown, his mom and dad are retired now. They have watched him play every game since he joined the Bulls. They used to boo him a lot in this facility, and they don't that much. A lot.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm being kind.
How about when you take your warm-up jersey off and all of a sudden you hear a crowd just start booing of 20,000 people? It doesn't reinforce your confidence very much.
He had his DePaul leather jacket on yesterday, so they're having the kind of season they are. Holding out of mothballs. Sadeo 3. 93-92, Chicago. They quickly get it to Jordan on Cressy, and Sigma leaves his feet. The shot is short. Oakley, strong rebound and in.
That's because of Michael Jordan right there. The penetration, drawing all the players, left that open lane for Charles Oakley to capitalize on.
Paul Cressy, guarded by Elston Turner. Shot short, rebound Cummings, stripped away by Elston Turner, saves it. And Doug Collins hollers, slow it down.
Game's getting awfully physical, and it's going in Chicago's direction right now.
Michael Jordan. Loose ball picked up by Elston Turner. 5 on the shot clock. 4. Turner takes the jumper. Oakley comes out and grabs the rebound.
Well, Doug Collins right now has his quickest 5 players on the basketball court that he can have in the game. With Elston Turner and 3 at the guard position, a lot of quickness, and Jordan now playing at the small forward position.
Back to Corzine, who wasn't ready for it. 6 on the shot clock. Oakley for 3. Rebound Milwaukee. Moncrief.
This game is going to boil down to defense.
Turnover, that's 16 against Milwaukee. Here's another interesting point. In the game, only 6 Chicago turnovers so far. Timeout has been called by Chicago. (95-92), Chicago on an 11-2 run in the last 4 minutes has taken the lead. Both teams with 3 full timeouts and a 22nd timeout remaining in the final 6 minutes. Vern Lundquist along with Bill Cunningham among those in foul trouble for Milwaukee. Ricky Pierce with 5 and Sigma with 4. Michael Jordan picked up his 4th foul with 3:45 to go third quarter.
And Gene Banks is back in the ball game playing at the small forward position. Now we're going to see that same play. Corzine setting the screen, but they're going to double him right away.
With Sigma. So Michael Jordan takes it in and Sigma gets the rebound. Hit from behind, Lucas picks it up for Milwaukee. John Lucas goes right and gets the shot.
That's the first one, and that was the time to make it. Jordan was very upset with the official at this other end, feeling he got fouled.
95-94. Chicago still on top. Sadeo 3. Corzine. They set the screen for Jordan right side this time. Drives the baseline. Tries the reverse layup. Wanted to draw the foul. Didn't get it. Here's Cressy. John Lucas backs up at three-point range and settles things down.
Well, the Chicago team is a veteran ball club. They know how to react and play on the road.
Gary Cummings. And Milwaukee's back on top. Since the timeout, 4 unanswered Milwaukee points. And Cummings with 21 leads all scorers in the green. Now Jordan roaming the baseline, comes to the right. Threet with the shot. And Sickman with another rebound.
Quick shot. And the other thing is that even if the foul wasn't called, Threet followed his own shot, and it was wide open at the other end of the court. The lead guard, if he shoots the basketball, he's got to think back defensively and not allowing anything easy.
Oakley picks up his 4th foul. Sickman leaves and goes left side as Pressey passes back to John Lucas. Lucas had 11 first quarter points. He's got 17 in the game. Rebound taken down by Oakley, who first looks for the outlet and then settles it down. 4:28 to go, 96-95, Milwaukee on top. Moncrief on Jordan.
You see them switching on the baseline. Cummings ending up with Jordan.
And they get Jordan popping free. The tip goes in.
Terry Cummings, I think, tipped that basketball.
I think you're exactly right. 97-96. Chicago trying to go 4 above the 500 mark. Milwaukee trying to get its 37th win of the season. Bucks are 36-22 and 13-14 on the road. They've been a good road team. Cummings.
He's such an excellent ball handler. Loves to play out on the court. Can hurt you in any way. Inside, outside, on the boards at the offensive end.
23 points for Cummings. Look for Corzine, and Cummings knocks it out of bounds. Leading scorers so far, Jordan with 31, Cummings 23 points for Milwaukee. Banks back to Oakley. Clock shows 3:35 remaining in the game. Sadale Threet to Oakley, thinks about it and then takes it.
That's why he missed it. He thought about it.
Banks with a hook, gets the roll and it drops.
Great job by Gene Banks getting to the offensive boards.
Chicago 1-point lead, 99-98, 3:19 to go. That's for 3. They're 4 of 6 from 3-point range now.
Yeah, and they've taken a few at this end of the court. You'd like to have a little more patience, try to get a little better shot than that 3-pointer. You see them double teaming Jordan out on the court. They're not going to let him, they're going to try not to anyway, allow him to beat them.
Jordan lays it back for Corzine, pops it underneath. Basket, foul shot.
Boy, you see this enthusiasm with this young ball club. They're just building in confidence. You know, earlier in the year, they would never have won a ball game like this. It's a great pass right there by Corzine, finding Jordan wide open.
Michael Jordan left the game with his 4th foul and sat out the final 3 minutes and 45 seconds of the 3rd quarter. He's now got 33 points, 13 in the 4th period. Make it 14. And he's 12 of 13 from the line. A 4-point Chicago edge, 102-98. With 2:45 to go in the game.
Good pressure by Chicago defensively.
Oakley doing a great job. Milwaukee ball.
They came down that time. They were denying one pass away, and Terry Cummings had no place to go. If that was college, that would have been a 5-second rule on Terry Cummings.
Timeout has been called by the Milwaukee Bucks. Back in a moment. 2:40 remaining in this 5th meeting of the season between these division rivals. The Milwaukee Bucks now trailing Chicago by 4. Bucks have 2 timeouts left, plus the 22nd. Chicago with 3 full timeouts and 1 22nd left.
Well, if you look at this game and you find one area that really stands out and say, well, this is the reason Chicago is winning to this point, it's offensive rebounding. They're out rebounding on the offensive glass. 20 offensive rebounds for Chicago to 8 for this Milwaukee Buck team. And it's tough to win when you give up that many offensive rebounds.
That plus the absence of turnovers for Chicago. They have 7 in the game. That's outstanding. Sigma fouled. Sadale Threet. That's his 3rd.
From this point on, Vern, both teams will be in the penalty.
Paul Pressey will inbound for Milwaukee. Terry Cummings. Cummings goes right, puts it up, scoop shot. Loose ball.
Oakley will shoot the foul shots at the other end of the court.
Doug Collins and Michael Jordan. They had a little bit of a tempestuous relationship when Doug was named to the spot.
Yeah, they didn't get along either early.
Oh, dear.
No, you're right, Vern, because I think one of the reasons was initially, here's a guy coming in, never had coached the team before. Michael Jordan had 2 previous coaches here in Chicago, didn't know what to expect. You know, at first didn't get along, and where did they get together? On the golf course, and they worked everything out, and they just really enjoy each other's company, and you can see how Michael's responded to Doug's coaching.
Oakley misses 2. A chance to go up 6 goes by the wayside. 2:15 to go in the ball game. Costly free throw misses for Charles Oakley. John Lucas penetrates back to Pressey. Pressey fires a pass, picked off by Corzine.
Now they'll try to use a little bit of the clock, make sure they execute offensively well, try to get it in Michael's hands.
Michael's on the left side, being guarded by Ricky Pierce. Corzine, high post, dives for the loose ball. Nice job by Corzine. And Jordan can't hang on, but he'll go to the line.
Boy, is that great hustle, those big guys going to the floor.
How about Corzine at 6'11", diving down like that?
Terry Cummings is fifth.
I will see the pass. And then, okay, great move there by Jordan drawing the foul. But Gene Banks made that fine pass, and an unselfish one to Michael Jordan.
And Corzine saved it all when he dived down and retrieved the ball. Now Jordan at the line. He is 12 of 13 today. And with 15 points in the final quarter, he now has 35.
I wouldn't be surprised that one of 2 things, for them to look for the quick shot or look for the 3-point shot. They have 3 excellent shooters out there for that range. We have Pressey and Lucas look inside to either Cummings or to Sickmer in the post area.
Largest lead of the game for Chicago, 6, 104-98. Going after their 4th and a 29-25 record. Sedale 3 tried for the reach-in.
Yeah, they could have called that either on Threet or Corzine. One reaching in, the other giving a forearm. Now, right after, I would expect, we have seen Milwaukee throw a token press at the Chicago Bulls team through 3.5 quarters. After this foul shot, I wouldn't be surprised to see them extended, Vern, and look for the steal.
That was a foul on Corzine. Sickmer at the line. To a 4-point ball game with 85 seconds remaining. Gene Banks, left side to Oakley, working the clock a little bit. Oh, they had Jordan back door and didn't see him.
Now they have to use a little patience. Try to use a little bit of the clock.
Michael Jordan, jumper. Oakley with the offensive board, but it goes out of bounds. It'll be Milwaukee's ball.
Yeah, that was a great pass, great execution, but Michael Jordan has just not been able to knock down that jump shot with any consistency today.
104-100 as we near the 1-minute mark in the ball game.
Need a quick score from Milwaukee.
Pierce off the screen, puts it up short. Rebound, Jordan.
Boy, he looked like he got fouled that time by Banks.
That's what Don Nelson's claiming.
And more than anything, he's such an outstanding shooter. You don't see him miss the basket that badly.
40 seconds to go. They get it in Jordan's hands, now to Corzine. Bounce pass, Chicago inbound.
That's a young player's mistake there. With 28 seconds left in the game, you get the offensive rebound, 24 seconds on the clock. Take it out. Use the whole 24 seconds if you can. You can't lose if you do that.
Michael Jordan, we're in the final 25 seconds of the ball game.
Got to foul or get the steal. They've got to foul.
12 on the shot clock. They don't want Jordan at the line.
Wasting too much time.
Underneath, the foul is called on Oakley, who missed his last two. Well, if you've got to foul somebody, not a bad choice.
Yeah, but the Bucks were not in a situation where they could be selective on who they wanted to foul. They just wasted too much time. As a matter of fact, 14 seconds ran off the clock.
20-second timeout is called by Milwaukee. And that timeout comes with 14 seconds. Well, a good afternoon of sports for you this afternoon on CBS. Tonight, Outlaws, followed by the CBS Saturday movie. They finally wrote about us, Bill.
Oh, the Outlaws. Oh, boy. Butch Cassidy over here.
It's Sundance, right. Pals coming up tonight on CBS. Outlaws followed by Pals. We've got NBA basketball for 14 more seconds. Milwaukee trails 104-100. That golf match that Billy was talking about with Michael Jordan took place last summer down in Phoenix. And Danny Pohl, who was a touring member of the PGA, was the third part of it. Doug was telling us yesterday that Michael, who is a good golfer with a 9 handicap, wasn't playing with a flip the first day, but then he got all his money back plus the next. That's when they became friends.
Hey, it was worth it for Doug to lose.
That's right. On the line, Charles Oakley.
Oh, he got all of the rim on that one.
Oh, that'll bring a grin. A 6-point edge, 14 seconds remaining. Oakley with 20 points.
Okay, Hodges is in there, another 3-point shooter.
Lucas, X for 2. Pierce, will they bring it back outside? No, he takes it off the glass for 2. 106-102.
Game's over.
Sigma fouls Michael Jordan with 4 seconds remaining.
They needed that 3-pointer to shoot the 3-pointer in that case, just to get a chance to tie, because even if he misses these, they have to make up 4 points, and that's unless someone is stupid enough to foul somebody shooting a 3-point shot, they have no chance.
Jack Sigma draws his 6th foul. Sigma leaves with 12 points. And 11 rebounds.
Well, this is a big win for Chicago, because from this game, they go out on the road, and they stay out on the road for quite a while. So this will let this young ball club go out there with a lot of confidence in themselves. You know, winning a game here on CBS and winning against a team that's always a contender for the NBA title in the Milwaukee Bucks.
Junior Bridgman comes into the lineup. Charles Oakley sits down.
But I'll tell you one thing, though, Vern. I like this Milwaukee Buck team. Once Moncrief gets back into the flow, Pressey's finger is better. Sigma, I think, can improve and play better basketball. This team is going to throw a lot of different looks at a lot of teams when they get to the playoffs.
Well, with one more free throw, Michael Jordan will surpass his per-game average that leads the NBA. Didn't get it, so he's going to settle for 37 points in the ball game. Timeout, Milwaukee. It comes with 3 seconds to go, and they face a 5-point deficit here in Chicago. Final 3 seconds of the game as the Bulls go after their 4th win in a row. That would put them at 29-25 for the year. And Milwaukee will fall to 36-23 and lose ground on Detroit. But an interesting, really fascinating performance by the Bulls in the 4th quarter. They responded when they were down by 4 when Jordan went to the bench with 4 seconds, or rather with almost 3-4 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter.
You know, Vern, it's like superstars at any sport. You can struggle all game, and then it comes to nitty-gritty. They have that ability to just raise everything another notch or two and respond to it. And that's what Michael Jordan did.
Pressey with the steal, puts it up and in. And 1 second to go as the clock stops after a made basket in the final 2 minutes. But that's it. And Doug Collins at the age of 35. Michael Jordan with 37 points, just a half point shy of his season average. They lead Milwaukee to a 3-point win. Miller Lite player of the game, Michael Jordan, 37 points.
And he didn't play a great game. Isn't that amazing?
Light beer from Miller, proud to present a check for $1,000 on behalf of Michael Jordan to the Thurgood Marshall Black Education Fund. Don't forget, a big day of sports coming up tomorrow. We'll tip it off with NCAA basketball, Oklahoma against Kentucky on CBS. That gets a 12 noon Eastern start. Then the NBA on CBS continues. Dick Stockton, Tommy Heinsohn will bring you the Philadelphia 76ers against the Houston Rockets. And